right. I think I did it. I think I did it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Man, am I slow. Okay. Happy Thursday, everybody. Buffy Wallen, give that sweet little girl a big hug and a kiss. Oh my gosh, she's cute. All right. Cynthia Murray, this is your word for today. And I am taking the coach's corner today. Okay. So here we go. Be nice to me. Okay. I don't see any birthdays today. So if it's your birthday, let us know. We'd love to sing happy birthday to somebody. And the word for today is progress. Progress. If you will, in the comments. So let's look at the definition of progress. And then I want to ask you to do something. Progress means forward movement. Like you're making a step towards the goal. You're making improvements. You're creating development in the right direction. Sometimes we are our worst critic. Would you believe that? Would you agree with that? Sometimes we beat ourselves up. Man, do we beat ourselves up. Sometimes we judge ourselves with other people. Have you ever done that before? Like you're looking at someone else's plate of food, right? While you're sitting there and you're like, man, I don't know if you've done that before, but I have when I was a coach, football coach, I'd have to really watch myself, judging myself and my coaching abilities against someone else's, right? I don't know if if you find yourself doing that. Or if you're like, man, if I could just be in that body, why don't I have that body? Right? So I don't know. Maybe I'm telling you my imperfections here, but progress is like just taking a step in the right direction, taking a step. Maybe it's not going there overnight, getting there to the finish line overnight, but it's taking a step in the right direction. What's one thing that comes to mind to you? And maybe if you will, put it in the comments that you feel like you've done this week, taking a step in the right direction. Like, let me give you an example. If I'm in sales, have you made a call this week? Have you actually talked to someone this week that is not currently taking your products, okay? That's not currently in your business? That would be a step in the right direction. But do we reward ourselves? Do we pat ourselves on the back and go, "Congratulations, Brenda Carlton, you're moving in the right direction"? What about this week? You're like, I'm on this movement trying to really create better health in my life. And guess what I did this week? I have not eaten a bowl of ice cream at 9 o'clock at night. Yeah, it's a little thing. But I'll tell you what, Michael Allison, if we eat a bowl of ice cream at 9 o'clock every night, guess what? We're probably not going to like where we're getting. Okay. We might like it in the moment, but really not like it, Dave, about a month later, 2 months later, when I've packed on an extra 15 pounds. So my point being is do we really celebrate the progress that we're making in our life? Right? Here's why progress is important. Here's why the small things, the consistent things, the winning the day is so important because compounded over time, it hits something really big. I lose the 15 pounds. I end up creating a team in network marketing. I end up saving in little small increments and I look up and I've built this nest egg to take the family on a vacation. It's the little by little, the stringing little wins together, the celebrating the little wins. I said this last night on a call for everybody that's in our company. I celebrate to myself when I sell a box of drops to a human. Okay. and I've done well in the company, but I don't want to stop celebrating the little things that create the big things. So progress is super important. And man, sometimes we get so jaded with progress, especially when I've achieved big things. I get jaded because here's why it's so important. It builds confidence and momentum. If I string little wins of progress together, before I know it, I look up and I'm having traction. I'm building a team. I'm starting to get movement. My paycheck's going up. It reminds us that growth is a journey. I can't just snap my fingers and be at the top of the pay plan. That'd be nice. I can't just snap my fingers and there's $2 million sitting in the bank account for a rainy day. Wouldn't that be nice if you just could wiggle your nose? You remember the movie? What was that? Oh my goodness. I'm dating myself. Used to watch it with my grandmother.
Bewitched.
Bewitched. Bewitched. She'd wiggle her nose. Yeah. Or do this, and then bam, it just happens, right? Why can't that be the case? I don't know. I don't know. So looking at progress that you're making is like, it's reminding you, man, growth is a journey. Doesn't happen overnight. I can't wiggle my nose. Can't do this. Got to take the little stringing little wins together. It helps us focus. And I'll say this, even with relationships. And it's definitely that way in relationships where you're like, I need to build this bridge of this relationship, but I just can't wiggle my nose or do this, right? And it's frustrating. You're like, why is this relationship not so much better over one day? Because it's growth. It takes time. It's got to be progress over time compounded. But I'll tell you, when we start celebrating the little wins of progress, it creates hope. It keeps us motivated to continue. Like, it reminds us that progress is impossible without change. I've got to change. I have networkers, obviously it's what I do. They'll join Partner Co. and it's like me and a great friend of mine, Karen, was talking about this just the other day. Like, you're learning a new company. It takes time. You got to learn the back office. You got to learn the back end. You got to, and sometimes we're just like, I want it now because I had it a month ago in my previous thing. It's like, yeah, but it took you years to get that, right? Progress over time. It's impossible without change. I got to be willing to change. And those who can't change their mind, like, they can't change anything. So I got to be willing to make the changes. I got to be willing to celebrate the progress, the little stringing little wins together. So how do I live a life of progress? I'm going to end with this. I've been saying it over and over and over. I got to be willing to celebrate the small wins. I got to be willing to celebrate the one sale because in my mind, it leads to a massive, massive outcome. Have you ever sold like one little product and thought about that and went, Ron, I don't see a product. I see a transformation that's going to come from that product. I see a potential six-figure earner one day that's going to come from that product. Pat Ogden, one little product. Look at her before and after. Wow. Transformation, right? Amazing what she's doing. Celebrate the small wins. Living a life of progress, you start focusing on daily habits. Tell you what I'm going to do today, not doing that bowl of ice cream. Tell you what I'm going to do today, I'm going for the walk. Tell you what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do the 100 push-ups. Like, it's the little daily habits overnight, over time, create the transformations. Right, Pat? She lives it. I see it. I see it in her. I'm so proud of her. Also, living a life of progress, I stay open to learning new ideas. Like, this next week, we're coming to Texas. people shouldn't be worried about what they did last year, judging if they should go. They should go to learn new ideas, to be around humans, to take notes, to like come up with things that they could go back and apply. That's why you show up. Also, living a life of progress, you don't compare my journey against Ron's journey, my journey against John Frick, John Frick comparing his to Joe's. Don't compare. Like we don't know someone else's journey. We don't know where they've been. We don't know what they're going through. Progress looks different for every single human. And then the last thing is living a life of progress, I got to reflect often. Like I got to ask me, am I further along today than I was yesterday? So I want to share this as we close. My dad, which is one of my best friends in the world. So when I was in school, young kid growing up, playing multiple sports, one morning I'm leaving for school and there's a note that he wrote me. And I took that note and that note stayed in the back of my locker where I put my headgear for football from a young kid till all the way to when I graduated. Then it moved from there to my bathroom mirror. And here's what the note read. Son, be better today than you were yesterday. Be better tomorrow than what you are today. Love, Dad. And really, to me, not that I always did that, but every time I took my headgear out, I saw that note and I'm like, am I 1% better today? Did I do just a little more today than I did the previous day? It doesn't have to be 100% better, just a little bit of progress. Little bit of progress. If I walked a mile yesterday, walking 1.1 today would be a little bit of progress, right? And if I lived a life of purpose and progress daily, what would my year look like when I got to the end? We can take our profession, we can take our relationships, we can take our health goals and our financial goals. And if we created that mindset for the year, wow, what would it turn into? Guys, I love you so much. I hope you have an amazing Thursday out there. Thanks for listening this morning. I value you. Have a great day.
Have a great day,
Great,
everyone,
Ron.
Coach.
Thank you. Great
Guys,
message.
love you so much.
Have a
Thank
great
you,
day.
man.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye,
Hey,
Have a
everybody.
good one.
You,
Brent,
you
love
always
you.
bring it.
Great day, guys.
Thank
Love you so
you.
much.
Message,
Thursday.
y'all.
Love you back.
Enjoy.
Peace.
See you guys. See you, Coach.
See you, boy.
See you, Dave.